Welcome back to the crossover. August 29th would have been Michael Jackson's birthday. Shout out Michael Jackson. Today we've got the brand new Champions League format. We had the draw today, so we already know the matchups. And I'm not going to lie, it's a mess. The whole internet talking about AI supposedly was the one making the matchups. Was it all rigged? How is this format going to work? We're getting into all of it. But before we get into all of that, I want to just make a deal with you, okay? If you go down and click that big red subscribe button for me, I can promise you that every day you will have a video on this channel to watch talking all things in sports. We're on the road currently to 1,000 subscribers. The more subscribers, the more likes, the bigger we can grow this community, the bigger that we can grow this channel, which obviously means we can upgrade our setup. We can get some cool guests on here to have some cool conversations for you guys to ask them questions, get to know them a little bit better, and get invited to certain events. Obviously, we're out here in New York City. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I want to show off. So the more that we can grow this platform, the more that we can grow this together, the cooler guests, the cooler conversations, and the cooler places that we can go. So if you could just hit that subscribe button, it would mean the world to me. Now let's get into the video. All right, first and foremost, we're going to start with the format of how everything works. The internet is in a blaze talking about, I don't understand how this works, so I'm going to try to break it down as simply as possible. Now, usually we have the 8 different groups, 4 teams per group. Top 2 advance, third goes to Europa League, and the fourth gets eliminated altogether. This year, obviously, now we just have one massive table, Super League-esque, but it is just one massive table. And as you can see, you're going to see some blue, you're going to see some orange, and you're going to see nothing, okay? First and foremost, there is no going down to the Europa League. It's either you continue in the Champions League or you are fully out of European competitions, and that's what's going to happen between 25 and 36. 25 to 36, if you are in the bottom, what is that? 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. If you're in the bottom 12 of this Champions League standings, you are just fully out of Europe. Is that understood? Let's get that out the way. You're in the bottom 12. You're 25 to 36. You are out of Europe. Now, let's go to the top 8. If you are between 1 and 8, you automatically advance to the round of 16. Okay? So in this case, Milan, Arsenal, whatever, all these teams here in the top 8 would automatically qualify for the round of 16. Now, this is where things get a little tricky. Between 9 and 24, what happens there? Well, that is another 16 teams right there. And if these guys are already into the round of 16, they're going to end up playing one of these guys in that eventual round of 16. But first, 9 to 24 plays sort of like a pre-round of 16 or like a round of 16 of their own, where 9 to, I believe it's 9 to 16. Okay, so between 9 and 16 are going to get seeded. So Benfica, Bologna, Dortmund, all the way up to Feyenoord, they would get seeded, and then they would automatically, or not automatically, I mean randomly, they would randomly get assigned a team between 17 and 24. So in this case, think of it as a pot 1 and a pot 2 between Benfica and Feyenoord. These would all be placed into a pot 1, and then at random, they would draw a 17 to 24. Now, originally, I thought it was going to be 9 plays against 24, 10 plays against 23, 11 plays against 22, so on and so forth, but that's not how it's going to work, okay? So basically, 9 to 16, they get placed into pot 1, 17 to 24, they get placed into pot 2, they draw, they play 2 matches, and then the winner of those will randomly get assigned a 1 to 8 team for the round of 16. Okay, so between 1 and 8, technically, they get 2 games off. So it's going to be super, super, super important for these clubs to get between 1 and 8. And then obviously you would want to be between 9 and 16 so that you could be pot 1 and not have to play, like, let's say it ended like this. Let's say Benfica would want to not play a Dortmund. In this case, they'd probably be better off down here because this is where all the good teams are. In this, again, these are just random, so it wouldn't be like this, but probably some of the better teams are going to be between 9 and 16. So let's say like a Liverpool would be up here, a Juve would be up here, I don't know, some better teams would be up here, some of the worst teams would be down here. So obviously you want to be between 9 and 16. Also 9 and 16, when they do play a team between 17 and 24, 17 and 24, they would have the second leg at home. So that would also be a very important thing to have. Obviously, deciding leg, you wanted to have it at home, have the home fans there. So that is how that is going to go. So for example, just taking this thing right here, let's say Benfica gets a random draw against Lille. Benfica beats Lille. Lille would then be out fully of Europe, and then Benfica would go into the round of 16, and then they would randomly get assigned to another team here. Let's say it's Barcelona. Benfica would then play against Barcelona in the round of 16, and from then on, it just Champions League as usual. I hope that made a little bit more sense. 1 and 8 basically get a bye into the round of 16. 9 to 24, between 9 and 16 would get assigned a team between 17 and 24. They would play a round of 16 basically between themselves, or a pre-round of 16, to then go on to the actual round of 16, and from then on, it's just Champions League as usual. All right, now that we got all of that figured out, according to like my calculations, my outlook, a team is going to need at least like 10 points to guarantee 24. So that's what, 3 wins and a draw, or however. I think that 10 points is that number that you're gonna need to at least advance into the pre-round of 16, is what I'm calling it. I think that that's that spot. Maybe like 12. Maybe you have to win 4 out of 6 or get some ties in there. I think 10 should be a safe bet, honestly, to try to just get into the 24. Now, top 8, I'm not really sure because there's a couple of teams. Again, there are 8 games. So what is that? A total of 8 times 3, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That's a total of 24 points that you have up for grabs. I don't think any team is going to win all 8 because I think that there's going to be a lot of rotation. Now, if you look at this year's Champions League versus last year's Champions League, obviously we're going to have 2 extra games in the group stage. So instead of playing 6, you're now going to have to be playing 8. And if you look at it, last season, to win the Champions League, you would have to go through 13 games. This season, with that added 2 games in the group stage, if you finish between 1 and 8, you're going to have to go through 15 games. Okay, so that's an added 2 games, obviously, because now we have the league play instead of the group stage. But if you are to finish between 9 and 24 and then go on to win the Champions League or reach the finals, that's going to be a total of 17 games, which means 4 more games. So in already a packed schedule, I mean, you're looking at what? 38 games for the league. If you finish between 9th and 24th and go on to win it or go on to go to the final, you're looking at 17 more games. Then you look at an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup or whatever cup, a Coppa Italia, a Copa del Rey. You're looking at a possible total of 67 games across 4 competitions. Obviously, if you make it to the final or if you end up winning all of them. But that is a lot of games. And honestly, between like, let's say 9 and 16, like I said, there's no real incentive to finish 9th as opposed to 16th or 13th as opposed to 12th. Now, if it went off of seeding like they do in the NBA where 9 would play 24 and 20, then you could like start doing math and start trying to configure it. Is this game worth winning? Is it not? I personally think that 9 and 16, there is absolutely no difference. So I feel like later into these games, like let's say game 7 or game 8, or let's say that you win your first 6 games and you're already guaranteed 1 to 8. I don't think that there's any big difference between 1 and 8 as well. So there's only a difference if you finish between the blue or the orange. Obviously, you're going to want to finish at least top 24. But I think that there's going to be a lot of rotations. I mean, we have way more games. This also could, I hadn't even thought about this, but records currently, like goal records for Ronaldo, I mean, players are getting an extra 4 games. Even within it, like top assist of the year, like let's say you finish 9th and 24th, you're actually getting 2 extra games. If you really think about it, like obviously counting the whole final and all of that. But if you finish 9th to 24th, you're getting 2 extra games to get more assists, to get more goals. It should be interesting to see what this does for the Golden Boot. It should be interesting to see how clubs are going to manage this. I personally think that there's going to be a lot more rotation, especially in some of those quote-unquote easier games, which could end up being trap games. But once you're in that orange, once you're guaranteed top 24, it should be interesting to see how much teams actually put into the fact of being in the top 16 as opposed to the bottom 17th to 24th. It should be like, I don't know if teams are going to put that much importance into that. Do you really care that much to be in the top 16 as opposed to that down there. If you have a big league game coming up or if you have a big FA Cup game coming up, it should be interesting to see. Again, this is the first year. Different managers are going to weigh things differently. So it should be super cool to see. I think we're going to see a lot more rotation, a lot more players getting their debut, getting their chance to shine in the Champions League. And I think there's going to be a lot more smaller teams who are going to actually get a lot more money just being in the Champions League in the first place. I don't totally hate this. I don't love it. It is interesting to see. It is difficult kind of to wrap your head around. But I think this is going to be fun. All right, so now let's look at the actual matchups from the drawing that we had today. Again, totally different drawing. It was quote-unquote AI. We're going to talk about this. Real quick interruption to tell you guys about our Discord, where you guys can actually have your input on what we talk about in these videos. As you're watching this video, if you scroll down into the description, you have our link tree with all of our social medias attached, but below it, you have our Discord. Once you guys join the Discord, you're going to be asked a question: what sports do you guys follow? Soccer, baseball, hockey, whatever it is, you go ahead and select it, and that'll give me a better idea of what you guys want to see on this channel. Then if you click right here on channels and roles, you can actually select each of your favorite teams. Let's say you're a Browns fan, a Orioles fan, whatever it is, just go ahead and select all of your favorite teams. After you've picked your favorite team, if anything happens throughout the year, or if I have any questions, like let's say I could just do at Cowboys fans, how much would you guys pay Dak, or would you guys let him walk? You can drop your opinions, and then I can make a YouTube video talking about how Cowboy fans feel. This is also a great way to meet other fans of your favorite team. Obviously, you're going to be able to see everybody's roles. You're going to see who likes the Cowboys, who likes the Eagles. You get to meet new people, talk to them. Super cool idea. We have a text channel for each individual sport, so you can go through, talk anything NBA right here, anything NFL right here. Just talk to other fans. Obviously, every day we do a hot take on the video, so you can come through, drop your hot take. Maybe you can be featured in one of the videos. We have a breaking news section where you can drop anything that's happened. Before I start recording the videos every day, I'll come through, look at every story that you guys put in here, do some research, and we'll talk about it. We have a whole bunch of voice channels, NBA watch parties, NFL watch parties, you and a couple of other people who are in the Discord. Let's say you guys are all Rams fans. You guys play the 49ers. You get some Rams fans, some 49ers fans, and you guys can all just talk throughout the game and watch it together. And then we have the main stage. Obviously, every week we go live for one big game, do a watch party right here live on the YouTube. This is where you're going to be able to come through before the game starts. I'll bring you guys in. You guys can give your predictions during halftime. You guys can come talk about what you guys are seeing in the game. You guys can actually vote on which game we watch every week. I'll put up a poll in the Discord. What game do you guys want this week to be the game of the week? You'll get notified every time that we do post a YouTube video, because sometimes YouTube doesn't send out the notifications. And then we also have a founder role, meaning that you are one of the first 1,000 people to follow us everywhere. Follow us on all social medias, take a screenshot of it, put it in here for founder approval. And obviously, once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we will be doing a giveaway, and it will only be available for the founders. So go ahead into the description, join the Discord, meet fans, meet the community, join the community, drop your hot take. Maybe you'll be featured in tomorrow's video. Join up for the live shows. Anything that you guys want to do, go ahead and join it. And honestly, even when I'm not recording, when I'm not uploading, I'll be in the Discord. So if you guys want to talk to me, go ahead and do that. But back to the video. All right, so again, traditionally, we have 4 pots, okay? Makes sense. Pot 1, pot 2, pot 3, pot 4. You would go through, you would pick one ball out of each pot, and that would be the group. Today, however, we still had the 4 pots. Obviously, you can see here. This was pot 1, this was pot 2, this was pot 3, and this was pot 4. But when Buffon grabbed a ball out of pot 1, let's say he got Dortmund, Ronaldo would then just press a button and quote-unquote AI would just assign 2 teams from each pot to that club. Now, obviously, I put my tinfoil hat on. I get my conspiracies on. I personally think that this was all already made. I mean, Ronaldo presses that button and the teams pop up. Do you really think that they were made at that point in time? Like, do you genuinely believe that just out of nowhere, AI just calculated whatever teams came out? I'm not in that boat. I think that Real Madrid was already slated to play Dortmund, Liverpool, Milan, Atalanta, Salzburg, Lille, Stuttgart, and Brest. And once he pressed that button, it was just revealed. I feel like there was no transparency. There was no randomizations. They say that AI had this whole formulation of you can't play teams in the same country, but also you have to make sure that the draw is going to run smoothly. So you had to do this and you had to do that. Now, granted, this would have taken a long time, right? You would have had to have 8 different pots. You would have to go through. You would have to remove some. You would have to get others. It would take a long time to do the drawing live, but I feel like in order for full transparency, like that's the way that they had to do it. Even if the ceremony took longer, whatever it was, I don't see anybody out there actually believing that this was fully randomized. But that's it. That's all I'm going to say about it. I don't want UEFA knocking on my door. I don't want the FBI knocking on my door. I'm not going to put out the conspiracies. You guys are free to believe whatever you want to believe. You can let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought about this. But let's get into the actual matchups. Again, Real Madrid was slated to play 2 in each group. They got Dortmund and Liverpool from pot 1. Obviously not the easiest ones, but shouldn't be a problem for Real Madrid. They got Milan and Atalanta out of the second one, 2 Italian teams. Milan needs to start playing a little bit better. They have not been so convincing this year. Atalanta, it's going to be tough. They were obviously in the Europa League final and won it, so it's going to be a tough team there. Salzburg and Lille. This matchup right here is actually super cool because we're going to see Kylian Mbappe playing against his little brother, Ethan Mbappe, who is obviously now at Lille. So that should be interesting to watch. Stuttgart is going to be tough this year. And Brest. Man City got Inter, PSG, Club Brugge, Juve, Feyenoord, Sparta, and whatever team that is. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Bayern Munich's team, I mean, all of these kind of have some pretty good matchups, right? Obviously, pot 1 is going to be the most interesting teams for these. Bayern Munich got PSG, Barcelona from pot 1. Benfica, obviously, I am a Benfica fan. I don't want to talk about what happened today. Shakhtar, Feyenoord, Villa, which is obviously going to be a super tough matchup as well. Paris Saint-Germain got Man City, Bayern Munich, Atletico, Arsenal, PSV, Salzburg, Girona, and Stuttgart. I honestly think that PSG got the toughest of all of the pot 1 teams. I mean, Man City, Bayern, obviously super hard games. Atleti, super hard game as well. Arsenal, PSV is not a sleeper. Salzburg played great last year in the Champions League. Girona obviously almost won the La Liga, or was at some point on pace to win La Liga. And then Stuttgart made a lot of great signings this offseason. Liverpool also got a very, very difficult route. They got Madrid, Leipzig, Leverkusen, Milan, who again isn't playing too well right now, but I'm assuming that at some point Milan's going to figure it out. Lille, PSV, Bologna, and Girona. Inter got Leipzig, Man City, Arsenal, Leverkusen. Obviously, super hard front four right there, but Inter, obviously, great team. They were in the Champions League final, was it last year or 2 years ago? Red Star Belgrade, Young Boys Monaco, and Sparta. Looking at Dortmund, we got Barcelona, Real Madrid, Shakhtar, Bruges, Celtic. I think that Dortmund, through these first 2 games, will have it very difficult, obviously playing both of the Spanish teams. But from here on out, I think Dortmund should be all right. In terms of Leipzig, they got Liverpool, Inter, Juve, Atleti, Sporting, Villa. Leipzig have a very, very, very tough road as well. Sporting is obviously great. They're playing some very good soccer or football right now. Villa is super hard. Celtic could be a surprise, and I'm not really sure what that team is, but super tough matchups there for Leipzig. Barcelona got Bayern, Dortmund. They got 2 Germans out of pot 1. Atalanta, my Benfica, Young Boys, Red Star, Brest, Monaco. I think this should be all right through here. I don't know how good Monaco is this year, but they also always seem to be a little bit surprising. So again, if you're looking at it from the lens of you just need 10 points, you just need to win 3 games, I mean, you could assume that Barcelona will win these 3. You can assume that they'll win that one as well. In my eyes, for my hope, for me, I hope that they don't beat Benfica, but you're looking at, what, 12 points right there. That should put them easily through. I think all of these, maybe PSG has the hardest route to not get 10 points. I mean, if they lose to City, lose to Bayern, lose to Atleti, I think that they could pull a tie out against Atleti. Arsenal is going to be super tough. But if they lose these 3 games, they tie Atleti, PSV, Girona, Stuttgart, there's always going to be a surprise in here, but I think Paris should be all right. I don't see them being top 8, though. I really don't see them getting enough points to be top 8. Let's go to pot 2 here. Leverkusen have Inter, Liverpool, Milan, Atleti, Salzburg, Feyenoord, Sparta, Brest. Again, super tough there as well. Atleti with Leipzig, PSG, Leverkusen, Benfica, Lille, Salzburg, Sparta, Atalanta, Madrid, Barcelona, Arsenal. From here on out, I think Stuttgart is going to be super tough this year. Juve got Man City, Leipzig, Benfica, Bruges, PSV, Lille, Stuttgart, Villa, Benfica, my Benfica, man. We've got Barcelona. Thankfully, that game is at home, away at Bayern. I don't even want to think about the scoreline for that game. Atleti at home, at least. At least we're not going to Madrid. Hopefully, we can pull out a tie here. Then we have to go to Juve, which is going to be super tough. We have Feyenoord at home. Obviously, our coach, we have a lot of players who came over from Feyenoord. Our coach used to coach at Feyenoord, so hopefully he can figure something out. Red Star Belgrade, Bologna at home, and Monaco. I think Benfica is going to be all right. Personally, I could just be being way too optimistic, but I think that these four right here will be able to win, or we should be able to win. We should be fighting, or we should be Red Star. We should be, but again, we're so inconsistent that if we win these four, I mean, that's 12 points. If we win our home games, we can somehow beat Atleti. We've beat Barcelona in the past before. We've knocked them out of the Champions League before. If you're looking at 12, 15, 18 points, I mean, that should get us at least like what, top 16, hopefully. Arsenal, PSG, Inter, Shakhtar, Atalanta, Dinamo Zagreb, Sporting, who knocked them out of the Europa League 2 years ago, Monaco, Girona. So also not a tough, not an easy route for Arsenal, should I say? Bruges, Milan. Here we got Liverpool, Real Madrid, Leverkusen, Bruges. I mean, there's some very good matchups here. Obviously, I mean, there's gonna be great games all around. We have to wait till Saturday to see all the schedules. We don't know when these games are going to be, which ones are going to be the first, which ones are going to be the second. I'm assuming that some of these games are going to be very spread out, right? Like they're obviously not going to put a Dortmund versus Real Madrid on the same time as a Paris versus City, at the same time as a Barcelona versus Bayern. I'm assuming that these are going to be spread out. Probably like one day Madrid is playing Brest, but then at the same time PSG is playing City. So obviously for television ratings, they're gonna wanna put out at least a couple good games every single day. This year we have Tuesday Champions League, Wednesday Champions League, and also Thursday Champions League. So obviously more games. They're going to need more time slots to put these out. I'm interested to see if the time slots are going to stay the same, where we have one game and then another game. I don't know if there's going to be 3 time slots now added. That is all still left to be seen. But you guys let me know, how do you guys see that this turned out? What are your guys' thoughts on the whole draw as a whole? I mean, for me, the highlight of the day was seeing CR7 and Buffon up there. I mean, the way that they were just yapping back and forth. CR7 said that the Champions League anthem, when you hear it, you just get turned on. Kind of interesting thing to see there. Again, I had my little board out and I was writing some notes. And just for all my conspiracy heads out there, he said, talking to Buffon during the drawing, "You haven't drawn a club that you know very well yet." And the very next ball that Buffon draws is Juventus. There was 2 balls left in the pot, so I guess it was a 50-50 chance, but that line, followed by Buffon drawing Juve right away, interesting. Now, as fans, change is very difficult, and you could look at the old format and say nothing was wrong with the format. We should have just kept it, but honestly, I'm kind of a fan of this new format. I think it's going to make every single game be interesting. I feel like during the group stage, a lot of the games, especially late for those big clubs, did end up getting stale. We'll see what happens. Obviously, this year, will those games get stale? Hopefully, some of those bigger games will be pushed also towards like week 7 or week 8 or match day 7, match day 8, where at the end, we're going to see some of those fights for 8 and 9. We're going to see who gets a bye, who doesn't get the bye. We're still going to be looking at results from other games. It obviously is all going to come into effect. It's going to take a little bit of time to adjust to, but I think we'll be just fine. I think the games will go smoothly. But yeah, this whole AI stuff, I'm not really sure on this drawing, but you guys can let me know. And obviously, a whole bunch more games for us to watch, a whole bunch more games for the players. While I was talking about the games, I didn't even take into account if some of those players are going on international break. That's an added 6 games as well. Obviously, this summer we've got the Club World Cup, where some of the bigger clubs are going to be taking their players there as well. So for the players, I can't even imagine what this is putting on their what this is putting on their slate. How much this is going to just weigh down on the players, which again, I think we're going to see a lot of rotation. I think depth is going to be very, very important for all of these clubs, whether it be rotation in the league, and could that lead to somebody slipping up in the league, or that's rotation in the Champions League. Can that come back to bite them? I think managers have a very, very big role, a very big commitment to make here. Like, what are they going to be committing to? Are they going to be committing to the league? How much do you weigh the Champions League? How much do you weigh the FA Cup? How much do you weigh the Carabao Cup? There's going to be a lot of stuff on the manager's plates. But as always, I do have to leave you guys with a hot take. So today's hot take of the day. I think Arsenal will make it through in the Champions League, but I don't think that they're even going to be in the top 16. I think they're going to be in the bottom 17 to 24 spot. I mean, you look at PSG, I don't see Arsenal beating them. I'm looking at that as a tie. Inter away, that's possibly a loss or a tie. So we're sitting at maybe 2 points out of those two games. Shakhtar at home, they should be able to beat. So we're looking at maybe 5 points. Atalanta away, I think that's another tie. That's going to be 6 points. Zagreb, they should be able to beat. So that would put them up to 9 points. I don't think that they're beating Sporting, especially in Lisbon. Again, we've already been through this with the Europa League. That's going to still leave them at 9 points. Monaco and then Girona. Again, if we're looking at 10 points being that spot where you have to just get in, I mean, you do have those two games that you could easily win, but going to Girona, can Girona pick up some of the stuff that they were doing last year? Monaco at home, you should be able to beat them, so that should probably put you in there. But I don't think that they're going to be in the top 8. I don't think that they're going to be in that 9 to 17 spot neither. Arsenal will go through, but it's not going to be in the spot that you expect them to be. As always, I appreciate you guys for watching this video. We will be back tomorrow. Obviously, I haven't talked about it yet, but we do have a brand new setup. We have the wall of greatness here. We just have a whole bunch of greats on the wall. I think it's super cool. You guys let me know what you guys think of the new setup. Obviously, the new Discord. It's a new era here for the crossover, so I appreciate you guys for being here, and I can't wait to see what this turns into throughout the whole season, throughout the whole year. Saturday, we could be expecting, or probably Sunday or Monday on the YouTube, a vlog for the New York Red Bulls. Those are going to be back. So we will be out there. Tomorrow, we'll be back with whatever happened today in sports. We'll be talking about all of that. And also, we're going to get the introduction of something that we're going to do to this part of the wall here. So make sure to come back for that. I appreciate you guys for watching this video. Make sure to drop a like. And back tomorrow.